let's talk about God of War Ragnarok. Our second to last topic. I want to end on the Callisto Protocol, so let's talk about God of War Ragnarok. Now, the game came out as of recording this episode. It came out 2 days ago. So we've had it for realistically a day. We've had it. Sarah and I have both been playing it quite extensively. For the benefit of our listeners and viewers, we're going to be talking a little bit spoilery of, let's just keep it to, Sarah, let's just keep it to the first hour of the game.
Okay.
So everything that happens within that kind of first hour.
Okay.
Up until a certain point, which I'll explain that certain point in a second, but I want to make sure that the viewers are like, I don't want to know anything. So if you don't want to know anything, it could be the most minor of spoilers. It could be like absolutely anything. If you don't want to know anything, and I do suggest you don't want to know anything, go in cold as possible. Then skip to the next chapter, and then you can just skip over this conversation entirely. There's timestamps in the description. You can jump to the next one, which will be the Callisto Protocol. But you have been warned. If you want to hang in there and hear us talk about the opening hour of God of War Ragnarok, brace yourself, because it's going to be a conversation. There's going to be emotions. There's going to be a lot of excitement. There's going to be a lot of tears, possibly. And that's not a pun on the God tier from mythology. I had to drop that in there. Come on. But anyway, you have been warned. Here we go. Sarah. Holy shit! Yes! Ragnarok is here.
It's here. Oh man, I have been waiting for this since I platinumed the last game. Oh my gosh, and it's so good. It's like, I was actually really worried. I started to get really worried in the couple of days lead up, so around Monday-ish, and I was like, oh my god, I have super overhyped myself. What's gonna happen if this game is like not as good as I want it to be? Like, it would have been really tragic, but it is exceptionally good. It's like putting on a really comfy jumper. It feels so familiar, but it's like new and exciting, and Atreus has grown up, and oh my god, like I think so. Kratos, the dynamic of Kratos and Atreus is so beautifully done and so expertly performed. So like, and I love playing as Kratos, but like Atreus, I literally modeled a D&D character after him because I fell in love with him so much from the previous game, and he is, watching him grow and seeing the kind of person that he's becoming and seeing how he was influenced in the last game and what he's like turning into now is so exciting. And it's and I when I put the game in for the first time, or rather put the code in because it's a digital, even though I have a steelbook with no anyway, that's a whole different
that's
thing.
a whole other thing. I can't believe they did that. Yeah.
So stupid. But yeah, when I booted the game up, I thought I was gonna cry. So ridiculous. I'm a super fan. I thought I was gonna cry. I was like, I'm okay. And watch the little recap, which is really handy. So there's a little recap of the previous game inbuilt into the menu when you log in. So perfect. We quickly played that, and I was like, oh, I remember all of this, but it was handy to have that there. And then you play through this first section. You see Atreus is instantly, well, at least a few years older. I don't want to sort of put a precise number on it, but maybe 5 or 6 years older. And within the first 15 minutes, I did actually cry, and I was not expecting that. Yeah, so he has this affinity for animals, which is really beautiful to see, and it's such a nice part of his character, and an important thing, I think, for the Loki character as well. And so when one of his wolves passes away,
oh man,
it was,
yeah.
And after you've just had this really intense encounter with Freya as well, so you're sort of sledging through and you're sort of feeling, this is really cool. It's really a nice change of pace from pottering about in a boat from the first game. You're suddenly on this like wolf-driven sled through the snow, which is super cool. And then Freya comes along and starts fucking with your shit, and she is terrifying, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And this first kind of QuickTime style like response. It is so cool straight off the bat. It gets your blood pumping straight away, and then we're straight into a really emotional bit with Fenrir, with Atreus's wolf that passes away, and yeah, I'm like, oh man, strap me
Yeah.
in and don't ever let go. I want to play this game forever. Yeah, I am. Yeah, words. I don't have them. I've been playing it every moment that I can play it, and I am about 8.5 hours in at the moment.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Damn.
There's a couple of late
Are we
nights involved.
are we keeping you back here? You're pissed off at having to record a podcast
Look,
because you want to
honestly,
be.
I did say last time I was just gonna have my I was gonna move the TV over here and just have it here and have my little controller and play, but no, I haven't done that. But I will be straight into it as soon as we're finished here.
I'm gonna make this a bumper long episode then, like a marathon episode, just so we don't
No,
get to.
I mean,
But
like, you'll
oh
see me
gosh,
sort of
you're right.
inching away, like inching and just
I
like.
know. But you're so right. That opening like 15 minutes, half hour was so filled with different emotions. Like I
Mhm.
was elated when I saw the menu pop up and Kratos is sitting there in the cave with his fur on,
Yeah. Looks so
thinking,
pretty.
how the fuck did they get so much detail into this game? Like
Right.
God of War 2018. I powered through that in the previous week before Ragnarok came out because I wanted to replay it again. Anyway, I'd never played it on PlayStation 5 after it got the boost and everything. I wanted to replay it. And I thought, my God, this game is so goddamn good. And for a PlayStation 4 game, it looks incredible, and it looks like they've just packed in just so much more detail,
Mm.
so much more emotion, and I don't know, just the way that these tiny little facial tics are all just captured now with the performance. It's just ramped everything up. And what really got me from that menu screen is when you hit new game and you've got, and then it basically properly it kicks off the opening cinematic before you take control. It's just how much Kratos is still grieving for Faye. He's
Mhm.
so emotional, but he's so repressed with his emotion, and there's no words, it's just looks and body language. You're thinking, whoa, okay, this is a
Mhm.
different Kratos. He's not to the point of broken, but he's clearly visibly still grieving for the loss of his wife Faye. And then Atreus comes in with the fucking big stag over his neck, and it's such a great bookend to that opening of 2018 where
Mm.
Atreus can't fucking hunt at
Yeah.
all, and he's too eager and he scares the deer, and then now the flip where he's killed the deer all by
Mhm.
himself.
Mhm.
He's grown up, and he's growing up, and that dynamic of Kratos is clearly just so proud of
Yeah.
Atreus now, and it's captured with these little facial tick moments of he just does a tiny little smirk and a little nod, and then
Mhm.
he turns up, and then filled with that kind of stuff, and then the emotional scene of Fenrir dying in his arms, and I'm a dog owner, and that fucking hit me like crazy. I was like, oh my God. If anybody who's lost a loved one or a pet or feeling them, like holding them as maybe they've had to be put down at a vet's or something like that, it is the most heartbreaking feeling of feeling the life leave them. And they captured that in his digital virtual space. And oh my God, the emotion. And you see the spirit
Mm.
literally leave them. And oh my God. And then 5 seconds later, Kratos goes into the hut, and then there's fucking Mimir turning pages with a wooden spoon in his mouth because
Yeah.
he's just ahead. And I was fucking laughing from crying to laughing to, I mean, how they balance that is such an achievement.
Mhm.
And I did warn everybody that we're going to go heavy into spoilers for the first hour, so we are
Mhm.
going to be getting
Okay,
specifics.
cool.
And oh my God, it was just so good. Again, the writing is top drawer. Mimir is he was, I think, my favorite character in the last game. I think he's still up there, but he's
You
maybe
should
not my
cosplay as
favorite one.
Mimir. You should
Oh,
cosplay as Mimir. That would be so good. You just get you a couple of horns, tie some rope around you. All
I could
good.
do that. Get a little gold contact lens in or something. I
Yeah.
could totally do Mimir. But again, it's the writing and the performance is so good. And whenever Mimir calls anybody a fat dauber, I just laugh like crazy because he's a Scottish actor, and you just know that he's been bringing some colloquialisms and slang to the writing team to say, you know what, we should call Thor a fat dauber because
Yeah.
it's just funny and it's just so funny. And oh my god, let's jump ahead a little bit.
Okay.
Thor, we finally. So, if you've played post credits, not even post credits, actually, if you finish the game in 2018 and you actually go back to your house, you can still do. You don't have to go back there straight away. You can still do like side stuff. It gives you that option. But if you go straight back, you get a little cutscene of lightning just like blowing holes in Kratos' house.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes outside, and Thor is standing there in a lightning storm. And that's when 2018 ends. You're thinking, oh shit, here we go. Thor's pissed off. He's turned up at his house. So anyway, that cutscene, that tiny little cutscene, is what now plays out in Ragnarok. Thor is there, and you're thinking, oh god, shit's gonna go down. He's fucking pissed. You've killed his sons, and he's gonna be pissed. But it is. I was not expecting it to
Yeah,
be.
and then
Oh my god, it's fucking Shakespearean, Jamie. It's unbelievable. He's calm. He holds up a bottle of mead and says, we need to talk," kind of thing like that. And then they go and they have a sit down, but it is so tense. They're just looking at each other, almost like casing each other out.
Mm-hmm.
And they sit down at the table. Kratos has got his axe. Fucking Thor's got Mjolnir. Sarah, hold up Mjolnir for the audience. He's got Mjolnir. There you go. Mew or Mew Mew, as was the Kat Dennings called it, Mew Mew from the Thor movie. And it's just this moment of pure tension where they're not really, they clearly don't trust each other, but they're not really talking as such, but they're just kind of casing each other out. And then there's a knock at the door, and then fucking Odin turns up. Odin arrives. And it's one of my favorite actors in Richard Schiff. I'm a huge fan of his from The West Wing. He played Toby Ziegler. He is Odin, and fucking hell, he's just got presence, man. He's just got such presence. And then they come in, they have the sit down, and it's just this Shakespearean moment of like, is Odin's like this King Lear type of character,
Yeah,
and Thor is just like, I'm just waiting for the nod from Odin to fuck you up, Kratos. That's basically what it is. And oh my god, I didn't think they could top the fight between Kratos and Balder from the first game, but the fight between Kratos and Thor was so goddamn good.
Yeah.
And this is all happening. All of this stuff is happening within like the first, not even the first hour.
Yeah,
And it's
like
just
half an hour.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's just the choreography, the camera work, the writing, the interaction of all of these players. It's just like, oh my god, they have done it. They have just elevated everything about this game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that there's almost parallels in what's happening. Like you have a similar, very early on in the 2018 version, you have a big fight in the same style. So it feels really familiar. You don't feel like, but also new because it's new content, new story, new like challenges. There's some amazing new additions to the combat, which are really cool. But what I really loved about that Thor fight is the actor who's playing Thor was just swearing left, right, and center. He's like, "You fucking useless piece of shit," and stuff like that. I was like, "This is great. This is so different to the style we were getting from Baldur." And there's a great moment. I don't know. Well, I unfortunately died at one point during that battle, but Thor brings you back. He shoves Mjolnir into you and shocks you back to life and says, no, you die when I say you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah!
Yeah. It's like a defibrillator.
So yeah.
It's like, gets you back to life. Because I got killed as well, and I thought, oh shit, you're not ready to die. I'm not going to let you die. I want to toy with you a little bit more. I was like, oh, whoa, this Thor is not holding back at all. He is a real piece of shit, this Thor, because he's a god. He can do what he wants. Nobody can challenge him. And I I probably won't go into too much more after this. Actually, we'll probably just cap it at the
Yeah.
Thor fight, because after that, then it gets, the story really does kind of take
Yeah.
off
Yep.
in different directions. But up until that point, I loved how Odin was like, now we know who we're dealing with. You killed his boys, and his boys were fucking idiots. Like, they were
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah.
But self defense. That's what he was
Yeah.
saying to Kratos.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's okay, but there is a blood oath for what you did to Balder and things like that. And it's like, oh wow.
Mm.
Ah, and it's just so, like, it's so powerful. It just feels like really, really powerful. This is a grandiose adventure that you're about to go on, and what is the retribution that's going to come from Odin? Because I just can't wait to play more. I'm only a few hours in, a bit behind you, I think, Sarah. But it is hitting all of the beats. Like, they've improved the gameplay.
Mhm.
Now the combat, I love the combat in 2018. I didn't feel like it was like sluggish or anything like that at all. It was like, it was weighty, it was crunchy, it was
Mm-mm.
really good, especially when you got the Chaos Blades. It was like another skill, another weapon to use. It wasn't just the axe all the time.
Mhm.
But the way they've improved and really finessed a lot of the mechanics in Ragnarok, I love now that you can just press the triangle button, press and hold it, and he will just like frost charge his axe, and then it
Yeah.
will give you like a super like powerful move to then throw it at enemies or hit enemies, and you get like this shockwave blast, and you can just do that whenever you want. It's not like a charge up or anything like that. Whereas in the first game, the Bifrost would build up on combos. Now you can just hold it, and he does this thing like, "Arr!" And then the whole axe is covered in frost, and you can just go to town. There's new traversal mechanics. I just love all the new accessibility stuff. I've been tinkering with
Mm.
that. I've got like auto pickup on all items now. So I just run across stuff and it'll automatically pick it up. I've got auto traversal. So if I'm going toward a ledge, Kratos will automatically vault over stuff rather than having to get that awkward of I've just stopped at a half height wall rather than timing the button to press over it. All of these little quality of life stuff and the visual improvements and the combat improvements, it's like, how did they make a masterpiece even better?
Yeah.
But they have just done the impossible, because the
Mhm.
weight and expectation that was on this game, staggering. And I
Mhm.
read just recently as well that like 3 months out, the developers were panicking, saying, "Oh, oh God, this game is not fun to play," and they were freaking out just 3 months before the launch date. And clearly, it all came together. And
Mhm.
maybe it is a case of, we're too close to this project. We can't see what we've created, and we think this game is fucking awful. We can't release it. It's not right. But obviously, it did come together. It's been reviewing incredibly well,
Mhm.
and so far, like, the story's there, the performance is there, and I love that Sonny Sulich, I think that's how you pronounce his surname, the boy that plays Atreus, aged out of the
Yeah.
role, essentially,
Yeah.
because his voice dropped. It's super deep now, and they just made it. It's like, so I think they had to go back and like readdress Atreus, because like partway through the performance or the production, his voice dropped, and then it's like, it's not this like this squeaky little child anymore. It's an actual man. So I guess they just went back and said, we're just gonna like time jump a few years, and Atreus is older, and we'll just redo
Mm.
that performance stuff that we've already captured when you were young. I just love the dynamic of Kratos and Atreus now, as you
Mm.
mentioned, Sarah, as well. And they're just, they have really gone all out on this so far, and I just can't wait to see where it goes. Apparently, it's like, it's a huge game, and I'm less than 10 hours in. You're less than 10 hours in. And apparently, to do everything is like 60 hours. It's like an
Mm.
odyssey of a
Mhm.
game. And I remember way back when this was getting revealed and teased, that Cory Barlog at the time said, we didn't want to do 3 games, because then it's like 12 to 15 years of waiting for this story to be done.
Mhm.
We wanted to wrap it all up within 2 games. So I just can't comprehend how much has still to come and get
Yeah.
packed into this game. And I just love that they're really circumventing, not circumventing, what is it? When you change expectations of people's
Subverting.
under subverting, thank you. You change people's expectations of what is Norse mythology. It's
Mhm.
not the MCU Norse mythology. It's the actual literary Norse mythology that is in books and other
Mhm.
creations that we haven't seen any visual format just yet. So, man, I could talk about this for crazy, but I'd
Me
love for
too.
you to talk a little bit more about your experience as well.
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it's beautiful as well. That's the other thing. It's stunning to play in this world. Um, the devs have just done an incredible job of making it. You sort of look around whilst you're maybe traversing something, and every little element of it is it immerses you in this world. I am still I will forever be obsessed with the performances. Like, I think, yeah, you mentioned there's a moment where, right near the start, where Atreus is like taking the wolves off the sled and then taking the deer out of the sled and everything. And it looks like Kratos is just kind of taking his time and plodding along. And Atreus is like, bam, 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 he's on it now.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that just little tiny acknowledgement that this nuanced performance by Christopher Judge is just spectacular. Like, he has, and you can tell how much love he has for Atreus, and how, because of his intense and insane past, how he doesn't know how to deal with it, and you see it his way of dealing with it change. In the same way that Atreus like responds to things differently. Sometimes he gets really bratty and he seems really childish still, and sometimes you can see that he's matured and has this different attitude. And then there's a kind of third aspect of him where he's very kind of subservient to Kratos and feels like, oh no, I'm just a soldier in your army kind of thing. And this is it's so, yeah,
Mhm.
it's so beautifully balanced. Um, and I love the gameplay. I think it's really fun. I love how everything is so grand. Like, this fight with Thor, it takes place over so many different areas as well. You know, he'll like smack you with the hammer and you go flying right up into the clouds, right back down. You'll be on some like 50-foot statue at one point and you'll be like tumbling down the side of it. And it is, this world is huge, and it just makes the whole story feels so grand as well. And
Yeah.
then you feel like you're let in on this tiny little part of it, which is the Atreus and Kratos, like their little dynamic is this is like little beautiful little personal circle that you get invited into in this grand, huge, amazing world. Ah, it's so good. And there are, I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything too much, but you get to see characters that you've met before. You get to meet all these new characters as well, which is really exciting. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out what I can say and what I can't say, because I am such a, again, and that's the thing with spoilers, is I'm so against them that I'll ask somebody else, how far through the game are you in terms of hours? Because then I can
Yeah.
kind of gauge, and they'll be like, you tell me what you've just done, because I think I'm further through than you. So at least
Yeah.
like I feel safe that they could tell me something that they've done.
Yeah.
And the problem being at the moment is that Connor and I are both playing, and so I will relinquish the controller at times, and I'll sit. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's such a rare thing for me to be the first person to play something, because growing up it was always my older brother,
Yeah.
and he would sit there when I'm doing my playthrough and go, "That's not right. You're going the wrong way. Why are you doing it like that?" And I just
Oh, that's the worst.
so
Yeah.
now,
I
yeah, I
know.
know.
I know.
So thankfully, I'm not doing that with Connor, but occasionally I'll go and sit and watch him, even though I've literally just played this like a couple of hours ago. I'm like, I want to watch it again. I want to see it again. And I am already looking forward to like another playthrough. And actually, what's really cool, there's already like loads of different armor types and shields and whatnot really early on in the game, and I got a pre-order bonus of a couple of things, which is very cool. um which actually makes you feel quite a bit stronger at the start of the game in terms of defense, because you get some armor, like a full armor set, which is really nice. And it looks cool as well. And I think there's a something you can do where, so in the previous game, some people didn't like some of the looks of the armor pieces. So what they've done for this one is allowed you to have the aesthetic of the look that you like, but have the skills and abilities of the actual set that you want,
Yeah.
which I think is very cool. Because some people want to be Kratos bare chested in the snow, and some people are like, no, I want to have the actual like full armor look. So
Yeah.
yeah, bare chested is great. No
Bare
qualms
chested
about
is
bare
pretty cool.
chested.
And I gotta say a big shout out to Sindri, who I think is now my favorite character in the new God of War series. Over the two games, I liked him in the first in 2018. He's such a comical dwarven blacksmith character, and his brother Brock. Their dynamic was brilliant. But I think Sindri in this game, I don't know, they've just ramped it up even
Yeah,
more, and I just
he's
love it.
brilliant.
I love the writing. The writing in it is so good. So good. Anyway, let's end it there because we don't want to spoil too much. Although I really want to do, in maybe in a couple of weeks' time, a full on
Yeah,
like a full on episode of
let's
all
do it.
spoilers, all story stuff, and we'll get that at some point. Anyway, last topic of the show. Jamie will be thankful that we're no longer talking about God of War Ragnarok.
I'm having a whale of a time. I will forever enjoy people being enthusiastic about good stuff. So,
Oh wait, let me show you my cool stuff before we move on.
Oh, okay. Before we move on,
you've seen Mjolnir. I also got a dice set, which I'm super excited about. So I'll be using that for D&D. Came in this pretty little bag with the little tree on it. So it's a wooden dice set, and they're so pretty. I don't know how well you'll be able to see them, but
oh, nice. Are they carved or are they printed?
Yeah, they're carved.
Oh,
you can't really see it because it's a little bit like. I'll take a good picture of them at some point. But the D20 is huge as well.
That is massive.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got these two Vanir twins.
Oh, lovely.
And you've seen
they always do a really good job with these collector's editions for the first part. And there's a steelbook, yeah. I got the steelbook collector's edition for the first game. I'm gutted that I couldn't justify it this time for Ragnarok, but
so pricey. But
so jelly, I know.
See, I don't even have a PS5. I'd buy that for the dice.
Yeah, the dice are so cool.
I am such a dice goblin that I've got a D20 shaped. It's actually a terrarium, so a glass D20 that's full of dice. And I've got a mimic that's full of dice, and I just I love them. But that D20, that big chunky wooden D20, that's your new life dice. That's your If you ever can't make a decision in actual life, follow that.
Yep, I will. I'll carry it around with me forever.
Amazing set, Sarah. Amazing set.